Fuck it. All right. Do you all want to watch that one video or nah?
A couple of years.
We got the YouTube Premium. Do you all want to watch that or nah? I was going to do VR for flight sims and racing sims. Yeah. Look, when it's better. So this guy made this video. Now I know he looks fucked in this, but he has a chill voice. What? He's chill. He paints his face in this video. I don't know why. It's fucked. But he goes over the lore very fucking good. Anyone hear of this guy? Simply Dirt, Just Dirt, the Dirt Man, the Dirtster. People hate James. What did he do? Bro, this documentary's fucked. He paints his face on all his videos. He paints his... This is his only video I watched, but I've watched some of his other videos for a second, and he paints his face in different videos. You know, like how we wear costumes. Yeah, let him cook. No, this guy, I'm telling you right that this video. Now, Zeizern's like, why do people hate James? Now, I won't say that people hate James. People hate James, like what James does. Does that make sense? Like they don't hate him as a person. They hate like his essence. You know what I'm saying? Listen, Fat Chick Thriller. Let's not pretend the AVGN controversies are anything compared to Ralph or what Ralph has done. Definitely not. I don't hate James. I think he's all right. But it's funny. It's funny what's happened. It's not like, oh, he's hateable. He's fucking hateable. Like, fuck James. It's just funny. You know what I mean? Now, did you read his book? Now, he'll mention the book. He'll go through all the lore. So here we go. Should I do
Years ago, I made a video about Doug Walker where I defended him from accusations.
This is a good video. So do I do Fallout at the same time? Or do you just want to watch the documentary? You want it at the same time? Okay. So I'll shrink this. Here, let me make this a double. Oh man, this video I haven't watched in a few months. I've watched this video probably. Does anyone have those videos that you watch where it's sort of you've watched it a lot of times over and over. It's just sort of a comfort thing you put on in the background while you're playing a video game or something like that. And now you know the video, you've watched it, but for some reason it's just like, it's not the best video in the world, but it's sort of just like, yeah. You know what I mean? Old gym streams, as Zeizern, yeah. Who's adding up? This guy is adding up. I mean, he looks fucked. He's not. I don't think he does drugs, to be honest. For me, it's what's his face? Oh my god, we were talking about Mr. Caption. Now, you know what's funny? Someone told me like how he like left the internet. I actually, after that stream we did, we talked about it. I actually searched it. Fucking after about his like downfall and what happened to him. Oh my god. Like he cried. He did like a Near Automata review and he fucking bawled his eyes out because he got criticism for it. I was like, what the fuck is this? And he used to have probably used to have The Office playing all the time. Nah, not The Office. I'd say I was more of a not Office. What was I? More YouTube. Opie and Anthony.
The jury's still out on whether Droopy the dog was, in fact,
Okay.
there.
He started with a stupid joke here, but here we go.
In about 8 months, the angry video game nerd is going to turn 20 years old. Can you believe it?
Buddy.
He's been playing the same character for 20 years. The same character for 20.
Guys, that's insane. Because I know Doug Walker wanted to, like, He wanted to do 3 apps. Anyway, he'll say it. But it's kind of fucked. 20 years. He's gonna take you back to the past.
Years. The same character for 20 years. You know,
That's
the
wild.
Beatles, they were really good in the 60s, weren't they? Yeah. Were they good 20 years later? Were they as good 20 years later as they were in the 60s? Were they still making Beatles quality music in 1983? John was dead. Paul was making Give My Regards to Broad Street. Ringo's career was basically over in a commercial sense. And George actually was gearing up for another comeback with the Traveling Wilburys and Cloud 9, so I guess he was doing okay. But the point is, they had their 7 years of peak success and then a long grace period in the 1970s where they were still having some amount of success because they were still actually pretty good and people were still enjoying their output. But what you see is a slow...
Oh, sorry. It was scrolling because the fucking scrolling in the thing. Sorry about that. I met Ringo at Whole Foods in Canada where I worked. Everyone was screaming, "Ringo's here," and it was actually Ringo. Now I didn't like the Beatles, but I swear to God I met Ringo. Like I even Googled him. I'm like, is that him? For real? Yeah, it's true.
Gradual decline. And this is very natural. And this
random?
happens. Why on earth would you ever think of trying something new? Especially when the last guy who tried something new, good old Nostalgia Critic, crashed and burned so hard that the name of his new attempt at a show still lives in infamy. The point I am making is that it's like if Seth MacFarlane never did anything after Family Guy and just spent the next 10 years going into the studio every week to do voices and then going home to spend time with his kids. I mean, you can't really blame him, can you? You can't really blame a guy like James Rolfe for losing interest in a job where he has to scream at bad video games. And you can't really blame him for wanting to spend more time with his children either, especially when they're at such a young age. And you can't even really blame him for not wanting to work, because most of us don't like working anyway, and we value our leisure time. And so if you can find a way to still make money without having to work, it would be stupid not to take that offer up. But can you blame him for making boring, stale, phoned-in entertainment?
Yep.
Yes. And can you blame him for slowly corroding the legacy of his most important creation? Yes. This is the situation James Rolfe finds for all kinds of gossip and details and memes. And it's some of the funniest, most savage stuff I have ever read. And what really tickled me about all of this is that James Rolfe is really a nice guy on a personal level, despite all of the creative cussing.
I haven't seen chat. I just don't want to interrupt the video too much to have to alt tab out and stuff. But yeah, he has a family and the sponsors pay the bills, so you can't hate him. Exactly. But this gets really fucking funny. The shit people nitpick James for, you're gonna laugh. So you could blame the slobs.
Anger in his YouTube videos. Really, when you get down to it, he's a very, very soft-spoken and some would say
love you, buddy,
lethargic person. I actually think that this hilarious picture that has been memed to no end on the subreddit is a perfect summation of what kind of person James really is. While Mike, the real angry video game nerd, is screaming at the video game he's playing, James is just totally asleep on the couch next to him, completely checked out. And even though James isn't actually asleep in this still frame, he still gives off a very narcoleptic quality, like the Dormouse from Alice in Wonderland. Or you know how Donald Trump always called Joe Biden Sleepy Joe? Yeah, well, this is Sleepy Jimmy, or Bimmy, as he's called on the subreddit. In most of his videos, he talks with very little energy, as if he's falling asleep mid-conversation, especially when there's more than one person. And so the people with all of the energy and the social skills do all the talking, while he's just sitting there going, yeah. But what James isn't is mean or rude. He's a very polite person, and he loves his family. In many ways, James Rolfe is a great person, which is why I just find it so amusing that there's this subreddit devoted to clowning on him, memeing on him, and just generally bullying James Rolfe. And when I say funny, I genuinely mean it. I mean, I think that this subreddit is hilarious. I think it's savage, and I love it. There's just something so funny about bullying a guy who is just, you know, just this mild-mannered, normal person trying to take care of his family with a job that makes him a decent income. And then while everyone's criticizing him and joking about him, he's just sitting there taking a nap. But it's important to point out that the people over at Cinemassacre Truth don't actually hate James Rolfe. Most of them don't actually hate James Rolfe. They respect him for his old videos, and they miss those old videos, that kind of energy that he used to have. And so there's something cathartic then about being able...
Yeah, man, Ash just left about 30 minutes ago. I'm doing the modded version of Fallout, but we're watching the Cinemassacre Truth video about the angry video game nerd corrosive legacies situation. It's so funny. We're just starting it right now. So yeah, man. Love you, bud.
We have a lot of ground to cover. We'll save James for the main course at the end because
this
I want
is good,
to introduce
guys.
first
I'm pumped.
all of the other people behind the scenes
start.
at Cinemassacre.
Let's do
because
it.
there's a lot of drama, a lot of gossip, and a lot of memes here. We'll
Let's
start
do
with
it,
the
boys.
salad, the bean sprout, motherfucker Mike.
Whoa. It's game suited for one song. Let's go. Let's go. Now, I won't lie. During that time, I was getting sick of Mike too. I'm like, why is he posting alone? Like, I'm here for AVGN. But, you know, now I regret even thinking that because without fucking Mike Matei, it got stale because Mike Matei, did you know he actually wrote a lot of the episodes and he actually played a lot of the games for the editing. Angry Video Game Nerd isn't really James Rolfe. It's Mike Matei.
Mike's antics and behavior did put a lot of people off, including the Archfiend, who used to make videos criticizing Mike for his censoring people's negative YouTube comments.
Mike the Coward Matei decided to go with the all-out censorship route here, and the reason why I'm bringing this to people's attention is that a couple days since this happened and people just don't care. People just take the attitude of, well, we have to give him a pass. It's James
I used to
Rolfe.
watch the Archfiend.
Mike the Coward Matei, immediately, censorship, censorship, censorship. Only positive comments. What are you, Joseph Stalin? No, excuse me, Joseph Stalin was actually respected by a few of his people. Mike Matei's just a cowardly piece of shit.
Okay,
But eventually, Mike did.
Like, I get being hyperbolic, but shit. Mike Matei is Joseph Stalin because he blocked a couple of people?
did something beyond the pale, which incited a big hullabaloo that eventually resulted in this subreddit's creation. He showed a picture of his big, juicy, meaty hog on Twitter. If I could show it on YouTube, you would have seen a picture of a giant, glorious 10-incher. I mean, just trust me, it's... So, like, why did this happen? The whole thing started because this picture of James and Mike at Universal Studios getting on the King Kong ride.
So obviously he didn't show the picture or anything, but one day he says this story. I wish I could say it. He'll say it. Guys, this is actually the craziest story ever. Here we go.
Weirdly, his next move is like, okay, I'm gonna do something you did not expect by then posting a picture of this article on Twitter
His
with
cock.
a tape measure next to
He
it.
posted his cock with a
Just
tape
to
measure.
show how much I don't want you talking about it. But what's really embarrassing is that people found out this wasn't even Mike's penis. He found it was just like a picture he found on the internet. So Mike just posted a picture of some random person's penis on the Cinemassacre Twitter. So that is what started this whole subreddit, because people couldn't have a conversation about this on the main subreddit because Mike kept deleting their comments. So people created this subreddit, The Truth About Mike's Penis.
That's why it's called The Truth.
And that's how we got that. And then people, after that, it became kind of a Mike hate subreddit for a while. And so people started figuring out that Mike had this past where he used to make this webcomic called The Loco Bandito, which was full of a bunch of racist jokes and poop jokes. And it was really embarrassing. And they found out that Mike not only deleted the website, he tried so hard to erase which led a lot of people to passing around this rumor that Bootsy, you know, he fucked Mike's girlfriend, which didn't happen, by the way, but like,
come on,
you know, people just love their rumors. But for some reason, this meme started relating to Big Ryan. He doesn't go by Big Ryan in the way that like Mike goes by Motherfucker Mike. Bootsy is Bad Luck Bootsy. People just call him Big Ryan for some reason. I like it, but like there's this meme on the subreddit where
Brad Roberts just
people
wait,
are like,
dude. It gets
Big
crazier.
Ryan fan, by the way. So like whenever you bring up Ryan, you have to put in parentheses Big Ryan fan or Big fan, by the way. I don't even know where that started. I just find it funny. Like, we're all fans of Ryan, I guess. After Mike supposedly left the site, he kept working with Ryan on Talk About Games. But eventually, people started to notice something a bit different about Ryan. Yeah, his hair was a little bit longer, and
I forgot about this.
he was shaving his face a lot more frequently, and you know, he was starting to wear these really low cut, revealing shirts. Big Ryan, husband and father, mind you, was slowly transitioning into a woman, which is a little bit weird. I mean, am I wrong for thinking that's kind of fucking weird? Like, imagine you're a kid and then your dad, because Ryan is in charge of a company called Retro, which used to be called Screenwave, or as it is affectionately known on the subreddit, Slobwave. See, around 2018 or 2019, these fat guys just started showing up in James's videos all the time on a new show called Rental Reviews, and as actors in the Angry Video Game Nerd episodes, and on the short-lived charisma vacuum called the Cinemassacre podcast. A lot of us were confused about who these guys were, and we just kind of thought that they were friends of James who we hadn't seen before, you know, because he has friends, you know.
I told you, everyone. Yeah, don't like, this guy's actually awesome. He's called Forever Dirt. Forever Dirt.
He's a so why don't I introduce the slobs to you? We'll start with the fattest. We'll start with Justin Silverman, also known as Justy, Crusty Justy, or Lusty Justy.
Oh, Justin.
This man was clearly the largest addition to the group, weighing in at over 300 pounds. He was so large that he couldn't even sit on a single chair.
I didn't care about anything back then.
Chairs. So a long time ago, Justin made a video where he was... Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to play it.
I had no thoughts.
Here on the Racist Video Game Nerd, I only play games that are good, which are also games that are racist. Ooh. Today I'm playing one of the most racist video games of all time, Ethnic Cleansing.
Ooh.
I don't know what he was thinking either. And then there's all this stuff where Justin was friends with this old sex offender.
So I figured you'd like this game. Wow.
I love Mary-Kate and Ashley. They're the best. Yeah, I was wondering if I could call the Real Doll Company and get real dolls made up of Mary, Kate, and what's the other one's name?
Ashley?
Ashley?
like how they are nowadays or when they were young?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you to figure it out.
Now, this is actually the same joke that Red Letter Media made with their Harry Plinkett character, but the difference is that Harry Plinkett is a character. He's basically a cartoon. He's extremely exaggerated. He has this cartoony voice. He's this like ancient 130-year-old slob who's really fat and just eats pizza rolls in his dingy basement. But this guy is an actual sex offender, so you know when he's making these jokes that he actually means it and that he's actually describing his real feelings. Even if he's joking about it, he's being like legit about it at the same time. And this led to a lot of jokes about how James shouldn't be letting Krusty Justy be around his kids. And that's not all. Justin also made this tweet back in 2013.
I'm a pedophile. Watch out.
Excuse me? Like, is this supposed to be some sort of a joke? Because
Hang on. I forgot about... Oh my, wait.
back in 2013.
I'm a pedophile. Watch out.
Excuse me? Like, is this supposed to be some sort of a joke? Because it's not funny, and I'm not just saying that because it's not politically correct. I mean, it's like actually, like I don't get the joke. Justin claims that he was hacked by one of his friends at a party. Somebody like got onto his computer and like hacked into his Twitter and posted this in order to humiliate him as a prank. And that's like the oldest excuse in the book. So many people have made that excuse before. But in this case, I'm actually kind of wondering if it's true because, like, it does not make any sense why he would post this at all. Better have been somebody pulling a prank on him because... What? And then... He has this obsession with this one particular Pokemon.
The fucking, if he was hacked, bro, that friend is a piece of fucking shit, dude. Watch out.
And then there's Rex Viper, also known as Rex Diaper, or just simply Wet Diaper. Rex Viper is a midlife crisis style 80s dad rock
Psycho,
band.
did you catch that last part? Were you watching, Psycho? You've been watching, right? Buddy, like, holy, I'm telling you, this video is fucking keynote. This guy deserves, like, I wish this guy did way more videos on, like, past of, like, all these types of things. Oh, you need that on your soundboard, Psycho? Yo, it's at, hang on. Hey, head to Forever Dirt's video. It's at 40 minutes and 13 seconds.
Prank on it.
40-13.
Particular session. And that James started a few years ago and is notable for being one of the reasons why Mike left
Or do you want me to
the
play
channel.
it?
One of the stated
Or
reasons.
Psycho, do you want me to actually just
He said
play
that
it?
one of the
I can just play it for you if you want. Oh. Thoughts?
There was this very memorable moment at I think it was the first ever Rex Viper show.
This is so good. Watch.
Where James did this move with his guitar that people have people have been obsessed with this move. They've been calling it the duck walk, even though there already is.
What was he a sex offender for? No, not him. That guy he had on the podcast. That old man who's like, oh, I fucked Mary Kate and Ashley. He had that guy over at his house on the podcast, and that guy was a sex offender. So, Kieran did have a meltdown, and then the tweet right after. So, I have no idea, Fat Chick Thriller. I have not looked into it. I've watched this video. That's about it. Allegedly.
He really
pretty sure that
does
guy
not
was.
like being called caveman. And he really doesn't like any of the hate around Screenwave and the slobs. And he's just kind of a salty guy. And people kind of do feel bad for Caveman Kieran because he's clearly someone who didn't expect that getting a job at a multi-channel network was going to make him the target
I'll say
of
this.
a whole bunch of criticism. And
So with Kieran, it's not in this documentary. I wish it was, but this guy like lost his fucking mind and talked mad shit about behind the scenes. These guys were barely paying him, and maybe one day we'll find that interview. But he exposed a lot. And his girlfriend started like revealing all the fucking shit too. So it's pretty interesting. So
Kieran was up all night working past 5:40, doing the work that
5:40,
James was
guys.
theoretically supposed
just
to
wait.
be the
Remember
one
that
doing.
number, 540.
And
Hi guys, Tony here. Sorry I wasn't in this review. Justin thought it was more important that he would be in the review because he had experience being a projectionist the weekend the movie came out, you know. So he was clearly the better choice over me, Tony, who has read all 6 books, knows the differences between the books and the movie, such as the Asian twins being engineers who build robots, or change the DJs that have mystical dragons because there were too many robot movies out at the time. You know, it's more important he was in the review over me, someone who knows about subplots that were omitted from the film, like Knives Chow's dad hunting down Scott. Justin really had some good insight because he knew Eat, Pray, Love came out the same weekend as Scott Pilgrim, so he clearly he needed to be in the review. You know, not Tony, who actually did a video that was reblogged by Edgar Wright. You can watch that somewhere here. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed his insights into the film, such as Expendables came out the same weekend, and how he wanted Scott to end up with knives, even though the whole point of the story is that Scott needs to mature and take a risk in future relationships and get over his ex, and dating a high school girl is kind of just taking the safe way out. But, you know... Justin knows his stuff. I guess being with knives is the better ending, even though it contradicts the entire point of the movie. Okay, guys, I'll see you next week. Bye.
that was pretty funny. But really, the slobs, when you get right down to it, they're not very interesting. Because how much of them were written by Mike? How much of the work has been done by Mike because James just hasn't had the time?
Wow.
And that's
The
an important
time.
aspect of the whole James Rolfe scheme, is his relationship with time.
I get asked all the time if I have plans to continue Board James. Unfortunately, no, but the reason I'm not continuing is because, first of all, I don't have time.
No time.
Because honestly, I just don't have the time. Time sucks. Nobody likes time.
Exactly.
I can't afford to sacrifice the amount of time it takes to make an entire movie from start to finish.
There doesn't exist enough time in the year to keep doing a full 31 review marathon.
I typically stick to movies. I'm not much of a TV person, and the simple reason is because I don't have time. Yeah, I mean, these kind of games, it helps to have some practice runs and to, you know, learn the moves first and get used to it, but we don't have that kind of time right now, so we're just jumping into it. So something that happened with me that was kind of unusual was that I played a video game, which I don't have that much time to play video games.
Yeah, like wrestling, like for me, it was like something where like I don't know, I never had the time.
It's your
to get into it,
job.
but I always kind of had, you know, an appeal for it, but I never just took the time.
It's your
to watch
fucking
it.
job. What do you
I have
mean?
other things I need to do right now. I don't think I have time to do this.
Cool.
You didn't see the new movie, did you?
No, I don't know when I'm gonna get time because there's just too much stuff. I gotta watch like 20 horror movies for Monster Madness. I don't even know how I'm gonna do it.
Like, I always wanted to have a breakaway prop in a movie, and
Bro,
there
what do
wasn't
you
really time
mean?
to do it, so I didn't really get a chance for this. Time.
That's not enough time.
James is always using time as an excuse for why he can't do more things. He just doesn't have the time. James has a very strict workflow for his day, and he always has to end his day at 5:40 p.m. He cannot
5:40.
go past that, even if it doesn't make sense to not go past it. Like, there was a very infamous video which people call the 540 incident,
Yeah.
where James and Mike were getting to the end of
Wait, you never heard about the 540 incident? 540. He can't work after 540. Like, at all.
James. But one good thing you can say about James is that he loves his kids.
Yeah.
He really loves his kids. And that's great. And one thing that the guys on the subreddit give him credit for is that he never shows his kids in his videos. He keeps them off screen.
Smart.
Except for the one time when he had his first kid and he showed a couple of baby pictures on one of his update videos because he was so excited about it. But he was pretty adamant that he wouldn't keep showing a bunch of pictures of his kids and that he would keep that off screen. And so that's good. He never became one of those family vloggers who exploits his
That's
children
good.
for attention and
Like
money. So
RTU.
James is all around a good dad. But
Who
it
uses
seems
his
like
kids.
being a dad is more interesting to him now than being a YouTuber, which
Good.
at this point, maybe that's a good thing, because
Yeah.
all we see is this lazy sack of potatoes who's farmed all of his labor out to other people and just has to show up and do
Well.
his thing and then go home, not putting any creativity into his work anymore. And to us, that looks
No,
really
Fact Check
lame.
Thriller.
The guy who just refuses.
The Fact Check Thriller. Dude, he's being positive about that. You don't understand? He's giving credit to James for not showing his family. This isn't a negative point at all. He said that people give him credit for not showing his kids. Like, he's not being negative about that. It is a positive. It is the one thing you could say about James is that he doesn't show his kids, which is good. And he doesn't begrudge him for hanging out with his family as well. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's not like, he's not trying to be like a dick about it. He's being positive. Keep off the good, keep kids off the net equals good. And that's what he's saying there. So. Oh, you're whining about the comments by the F-slur Redditors about his family. Were the fucking Redditors being a negative about it? Guys, it's 5:40. Okay, I gotta go. It's perfect timing. I gotta actually go. It's 5:40, guys.
Problem with Hollywood is that it's very expensive, especially if you're
stupid.
trying to shoot a movie. And so he ended up getting scalped by a lot of people, including the California Tax Service, and he lost about $100,000 on taxes that could have been avoided if he had just hired an accountant who knew how to finance a low-budget movie. And while I do enjoy seeing James work with these cheesy low-budget special effects using toy cars and kaiju costumes, what I don't like to see is a movie that's supposed to be taking place in a room, but they're just clearly on a green screen. Like, you couldn't have shot the fucking thing in a room. You couldn't get a goddamn motherfucking room to
Hang on. I gotta watch this. I gotta watch this fucking. Wait. They shot the fucking.
One of the most infamous examples of this was when he did a video recently where he climbed the mountain that Rocky climbed in Rocky 4. And the problem is that he can't pronounce the word mountain, and so he keeps saying mountain.
This is so petty.
Mountains,
I think it's funny as fuck. It's just funny.
mountains.
Yeah,
For some
and
reason,
by the
this
way,
was the funniest thing.
oh wait, who said it? Brad Roberts is like, oh, who cares if you can't pronounce words? People make jokes about me not pronouncing shit or stuttering. Like, it's just funny. It's just what the meme was. You know what I mean? Like, things don't have to be like, oh, cancel him. You know what I mean? Like, we could just like kind of make fun of the way he says mountain. It is pretty funny. I said mountain. So you know what I mean, dude? So, you know, that's why.
To them, because for a long time,
he's not a bad
James
guy.
called himself a filmmaker, but it seems like now he's
Low-key.
less enthused about that. And so he's like, well, I'm a curator of film. And it just sounds ridiculous to people because they're like, dude, you don't watch movies, so how can you be a curator of film? The only movies James seems to know about are monster movies, stuff he watched when he was a kid, and stuff he watched in film school. But he's a curator of film. They also really latched onto this thing where James is like, it was wrong then and it's wrong now. You see that a lot on the subreddit where if somebody brings up something bad, somebody will comment, it was wrong then and it's wrong now. And that's interesting because it kind of shows that this subreddit, it shows the subreddit's attitude toward things like political correctness, that these are not very politically correct people.
Hell
These
no.
are not people. No, it might be wrong now, but that doesn't mean it was wrong then. Like, morality changes and evolves. So saying it was wrong then and it's wrong now, it's kind of ridiculous. I don't. It just shows the mentality of the subreddit is all that. It demonstrates something about the way they think. But by far the biggest source of quotations it comes from this one behind the scenes video, and this later in the video where he's talking about how he couldn't get his microphone to.
This part gets ridiculous. How he films videos is the most, like, so much work. Like, he's so, like, he does things in the hardest ways possible.
I'll talk about some of the projects that you don't see, the ones that are all about maintenance, and I'll even address a few complaints of the assholish variety.
Complaints of the assholish variety. This is the most legendary James Rolfe quote ever. I love it. I love the snide sort of derisiveness of it. The people on the subreddit are the fans of the assholish variety, basically. That's what they are to him. This became such a huge deal on the subreddit that they even made a Monster Madness, their own version of Monster Madness, called Monster Madness of the Assholish Variety last year, with an AI generated voice of James Rolfe, which...
What's going on here?
I'm a pedophile. Watch out. I'm a pedophile. Watch out.
You can see here how long it was taken to copyright this stuff. I probably have like 80 terabytes of crap when you add it all up. I'm not even sure, to be honest. When just one folder says it's going to take 7 days.
He keeps every piece of raw footage he's ever done. What am I doing right here? They went that way. Find out from Manny. Oh, okay. Find out from Manny. I see it. 80 terabytes of, like, he's got every piece of raw footage ever. All that's 80,000 gigabytes. Wait, is it 80,000? No. Is it? Keeping raw video is actually twisted. That's fucked. What are you doing? That's That's like fucking insane. Okay. Let me explain what this retard did. He thought his master hard drive fucking server wasn't working. So what did he fucking do? He fucking transferred everything, 80,000 gigabytes, to a new fucking server. Turns out it was just the cable. $82,000 if you want to split hairs, exactly. Are you insane? But now it's double saved. His drives are so loud, he has to keep them in a separate room because of how loud it is.
I mean, setting aside the fact that he shouldn't even be using the Mac in the first place. I mean, you have this big brand new PC built by Screenwave. You shouldn't be editing on a Macintosh. But setting that aside, the new server that Screenwave bought him, it was probably an updated server that was smaller and could run a lot quieter than the old server. So that's good, right?
So it's been great, but the server is so loud, I had to spend a few days putting up insulation, drywall, and foam to muffle the noise.
Never mind. I guess his new server was even louder than the old server, so much that they had to put up new insulation to block out the noise. This just keeps getting worse, and we're not even a third of the way through the video yet. And just in case you thought I was going to blow past this little gem, let's take a closer look at this diagram James made for how to back everything up to his new hard drives. To make it easier on us, somebody actually rendered this diagram on Microsoft Paint. And what the hell are we looking at? This guy said, James works harder at pretending to work hard than actually working hard. Several people said it, and he reveals that he doesn't use tripods because they take up too much floor space. And so instead, he makes these insane jerry-rigged contraptions out of wood that look like shit, and he mounts his microphone to the ceiling, which makes it buzz. And even though mounting the microphone to the ceiling makes it buzz, he still feels that it's worth it just so that he doesn't have to use a mic stand. But the best part of the video, this section rather, is where he talks about his lights.
Now let's talk about the lights.
Yes, let's talk about the lights. Let's talk about the fact that James zip-tied a fucking light stand to his ceiling. You really have to hate tripods to think that is a good idea. This guy has figured out every solution possible to make a video without any of his equipment touching the floor. What is the floor, lava? Now, to be fair, this video was made. He has to take down the whole setup.
Some people have felt the need to point out whenever there's a basic episode.
Okay. Guys. He tapes the mic. He tapes the lights to the ceiling. He tapes everything. He's all this. Every time he changes the angle, he has to untape everything and retape it for the new angle.
Do they want me to suffer and do everything myself?
This is where he defends the slobs a bit, and do you want me to suffer? I mean, that was just made to be a meme. People love that quote because it really, I mean, Reddit.
This autism thing's hilarious.
He talks about one of his last days at special ed school. He was 16.
This is so funny. This is so funny.
Remember that. He was 16.
Guys, you guys gotta
him
hear
narrate
this.
It.
This is so
had
funny.
Good behavior at the special ed school for 7.5 years, but something very unfortunate happened on my last day. My bus driver and the bus assistant both said something cool to me that came out of nowhere.
I love this video.
It started when the day before. Okay, so the phrase balls on the dick became a meme. Of course it did. But, you know, the way people were talking about it on the subreddit, they made it seem like James had an autistic meltdown because he heard the phrase balls on the dick, which is hilarious, but that's, if you read it, that's clearly not what he was saying. What he was saying was that he had ever treated him that way before, and he was really sensitive. And I can totally imagine. I went over to the ocean, standing alone, staring into the rolling waves.
This is
The
crazy.
white
This
noise
is
washed
crazy.
over my brain as all my negative emotions numbed me to the core. That just might be the worst suicide attempt I have ever heard of. I have to share the Reddit comments. Mommy, I chose to persevere over adversity instead of surrendering the cold embrace of death. That's nice, dear. I'm glad he didn't drown himself. It was wrong back then, and it's wrong now. His mom was just like, what the hell is he doing now? While flopping around melodramatically in the wet sand while letting shallow waves roll over him. She probably looked around embarrassed to see if anybody saw him. Maybe it would be good if one of these days he would learn to take inspiration from himself.
Whoa. What a good fucking video.
Well, anyway, that's it. We just ran out of time because I have to be done at 5:40 right now.
A delicious cherry thing.
Stop,
These things
stop, 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 stop.